What you see here are all the iterations and different generations for the village that are included into my worlds. There are a few updates between the various iterations, and I wanted to show you around and basically give you a little insight for the different builds and village houses. Just up front, if you want to support me and want to help me out, you can find also all of the downloads and all the schematics that you will see here over on Patreon, where I have a link below in the description, all the wonderful assets for you to play with and integrate into your worlds. These buildings are closely leaned on the base variations, or on the base buildings of vanilla Minecraft, as you can see here, and have minor adjustments and little improvements gotten over the time that I wanted to show you now in this little video. So, for the beginning, what do we have here? This is the first iteration or the first generation of villages that are implemented into the mostly into the worlds of 1.16 and older maps that are available all over Planet Minecraft. Then we have here in the second row, we have the second generation and the current third generation that I'm working on with a variated style, trying to implement new rules or new build variations for these wonderful builds. The fourth row is designated to the second generation of buildings, but as a ruin style. And there is plenty of stuff going on. So we have, of course, the destroyed building. Then we have, sometimes we have inside them in here some loot chests, but also we have, and plenty of them, we have little secrets that you can unlock and find in them. While these buildings and structures seem to be pretty simple, there are a lot of features that have gotten implemented over the time in the last few versions of Minecraft. So therefore, the first generation is only compatible with version 1.14 and above, and the second generation of villages will be only available for 1.17 and above. This is mainly due to my decision to include most of the 1.70 blocks in various ways. And yeah, as you can see, we have here the deep slate blocks in various ways. Then here the copper ore that has been recently added. I'm still tinkering about to make a 1.12 compatible version so that you can also place them on 1.12 maps, because a lot of servers are still running on 1.12 for just the sheer performance that this version holds up to. So maybe I will also include a 1.12 version in the near future. For now, the whole pack is just a work in progress project that will evolve over time, and yeah. As soon as I started integrating all of the village buildings into Minecraft, I was tackled and faced with a lot of challenges that I had to overcome. And so the first one was basically implementing the buildings in such a way that they would basically integrate into the landscape with ease. The biggest problem was the elevation changes that would occur in the world, and therefore I extended the base for the first generation of village by about 3 to 4 blocks down into the ground. And this would enable me to basically use the building and place it around about 3 blocks beneath the ground. And if in case there would be an elevation change, let's say we would have the base ground would be over here, and then the backside would fall down and all the way to this level, we would still have a basement that would basically adjust to the environment. This is a common tactic that you can also use for trees or other structures and builds that are implemented into your world. So you can go ahead and basically place the build and lower it by a few points and a few blocks into the ground so that it's more integrated into the world. The first few iterations then on the maps would basically reveal that the villages would be pretty good to implement into the worlds. They had a sophisticated feel, so basically the vanilla feel was preserved, and I was able to integrate all of the buildings into the worlds. There was a major problem for sure, because beds and chests would basically render and display incorrectly, so I had to find a new way to implement them. And therefore I switched over to the wonderful structure blocks in order to generate the assets that you see here today. So with the schematic block, you have the ability to create really large scale structures, like over where you can oversee there, where the first model of the mineshaft was created and then implemented just like this wonderful huge block into the world. This is not really possible with the structure block because it's limited in size, so there is a limited use for this block, but it upholds a huge upfront or a huge plus side to it, and that is basically to render out these custom blocks in an orderly manner. From here on, the first generation was just mildly improved with minor little details. Maybe a little block was removed or added, but mostly it stayed basically to the vanilla core as much as possible. Second major thing is basically to implement most of the 1.17 blocks as well as the updated styles for the buildings. I struggled a lot in the past if I should update the basic styles of the vanilla village, because on the one side I want to encourage you as a player on the map to go ahead, maybe turn this building down and maybe go ahead and build your own thing. But on the other hand, there are plenty of people that enjoy really well crafts, and I'm one of those people that really loves to explore and visit new places in the world. And for me, this is really important to have sophisticated builds that have an aesthetic pleasing in the overall looks. The third change that you might not see immediately is the foundation. The foundation has changed from the just basic cobblestone all the way to a mixed palette with a solid stone foundation that is on purpose. The stone foundation, also the transition we have here up here, basic transition more or less between the different block types, and then the foundation is on purpose stonified. This is due to the option in World Painter that gives me the ability to extend the foundation all the way to the ground. So it uses the latest block that is on the ground, or the latest block in the height, and uses this block to extend all the way to the next block if you have this option enabled, and this would basically extend the foundation all the way to the ground. It's really helpful if you have high elevation changes, like on cliffs, or maybe there is a little drop down in the terrain. So therefore it wouldn't look like that, or if the building would be floating. As mentioned earlier, I try also to evolve my builds and my build styles, and also give a little variation into the worlds. And the third gen, or the upcoming gen for future maps, should be upholding a few variations of the new buildings with basically iterations of the first one. And a little point that I haven't noticed or haven't mentioned at all until now is the structural change. So we can see that it deviates quite a lot in structure, but in a way that is not really noticeable. With this building, it's maybe most noticeable. This is basically, just for me to include more of a space in here and give you the chance to include your likes of playstyle. into the buildings without being limited by them. So now that we have seen all the simple and different changes within the builds themselves as on the meta phase, let's have a little look around in them, how they look from the inside, because this is also a little change that I made in order to make it a bit more comfortable. So also increasing the FOV so that you can see more. So we have plenty of little additions like in a furniture or little style updates in the houses too, as well as having basements. Basements are the latest addition into these builds. Not in every single build there is a basement, but in many of them. And you can find plenty of loot in them too. So this should be, if you find a village, there should be plenty of stuff to explore in them. Let's see around. So we have here the special build. Then we have here as you can see, the inner room. And then of course we have also an underground where people are working or doing their laboratory stuff. We find a few cobwebs because it's a bit dusty down here. These are implemented. Then the toolsmith would have a basement. That is quite interesting actually. It upholds quite a lot of loot in two of those chests. But if you don't like to be spoiled, skip now for around about 10-15 seconds. Because we are having in the runes something special that I haven't shown you right now. So if you'd like not to be spoiled, go ahead and skip. Okay, you had your chance. So we have here, in these runes, we have the little contraptions that should make it a bit more interesting to explore them. It might be a bit much TNT, but the goal is to basically give you a shock as soon as you enter the door. So you would think, oh, I can enter this door. You would hit the lever, and then you would basically hear all the traps going off and exploding to the hell. We have different things like this. We have also included in different builds, but not in everyone. So some of them are basic, some are traps, some look like traps, but not all of them. Anyway, so going back to the builds. So I hope you skipped enough far enough to be again here at the right spot. So let's see how the other builds have turned out. So there is the cartographer that has gotten a little bit more space, a little outdoor front in this part. And then we have, of course, the inner room that has a little gotten a little upgrade in terms of furniture. If you're interested, I could also upgrade it even more in the future. But there is it's quite tight to fit all of the interesting things in them. But I have a full list of buildings that I want to integrate into this or into the villages in general. And there will be plenty of opportunities to integrate many more ideas. So there are the village themselves should be an opportunity for everybody to get into everything. So you can see here, this is one of the builds that doesn't have an underground or a basement, as well as this building. So we have here this huge open room to work in, but some of the later builds won't have a basement, unlike this one. Oh, this is a special one. So we can go ahead and we have this staircase, and all of these blocks in here are special air blocks, and these enable me to make a little pathway down here and have a little basement down here, or access to the basement, instead of including a ladder inside of the building. It's quite unique to integrate. I thought it would be funny. This one, yes, it's quite straightforward. There are plenty little changes, like removing double doors that are kind of unnecessary. Especially for this build, you can see it in the original. We have 2 double doors on the top, we have 2 double doors on the bottom. That really doesn't make much sense. Also, I can't get into here. So, anyway, yeah, that's the inside of all the wonderful buildings. So we have here also the fishery. I might update this in the future a bit more, so that we have a little bit more fishery going on here. But for now, it's pretty sophisticated. Then one of my favorite things that are coming now up is we have an updated fountain design. So the original is, yeah, it's there. It's a vanilla micro fountain. And then I went ahead and styled up a new fountain with an interesting technique, because the way that these trapdoors are placed is in a way that villagers and mobs will try to avoid stepping over them, enabling me to have a fountain in here that won't be it won't be cluttered up or filled with villagers. We can see it in action in a second. Then for the town centers, we have a little upgrade with the market stands, as well with the trees, with all the new blocks that you can find, like the azalea. Then a little pottery. The farms, they have gotten a little upgrade. They gotten a little bit wider to make it a little bit rounder, and of course also the honeycombs, the bees. The bees have been included in here too. And yeah, this is the center. That's gotten a little upgrade with the tree. And of course, in case you're wondering, there will be also a little moss block there to get the azalea plants. And in here, I don't think we can see it. Doesn't look like. But, yep, down. This looks weird. Anyway, this is the rooted dirt that can be found there too. The last few builds don't have seen many changes overall. So, and then for every single build that we have here, we have of course also the wonderful iteration of the runes. So you can find all of the runes in the overworld. Mostly, so the runes have been implemented in from Snakenborg and everything in every map afterwards, but most notably you will find them in Akarnion. They will be pretty dominantly scattered around the map for you, easy to find. And yeah, there will be plenty of little secrets around the map to be found too. So this is the state of the villages for now. We have July of 2021, and yeah, there will be plenty of updates. The list of buildings will be basically doubled for sure in the future. So we have the basic houses right now, and then we have custom houses that will be implemented into the future. And for every for every version, so as you can see, we have around, I think, 20 builds, 20 houses or so. And this will be lifted up to around about 40 to 50. And for every version, there will be also, it is planned that there will be also subversions for the different biomes. So like taiga, woods, then we would have savanna, desert, and so on. So there are varied and sophisticated plans for this in the future to make it more interesting to explore. As this is one of my goals, to make the Minecraft maps a really fun and entertaining world to basically travel around and find stuff. But yeah, the runes, just before we end the video, I just wanted to show you the runes in action in the wildlife. So this is how they implement into the world. So we have the broken parts. There is one other thing that I noticed over time that hasn't been really well imported, and grass in these structures are not really well implemented. But yeah, so you can find here plenty of chests. So I'm gonna ignore the water for now. But yeah, there are plenty of little rooms where you can find chests. More. There's more. There's more. Oh, then we have, of course, other structures to find, like the witch hut here too. Anyway, this is it. This is the village as to date. I hope you enjoyed all of this little exploration and little talking of me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Have a good one. Goodbye.